Good evening, everyone.
Good
Is
evening.
everyone-
Good evening, Rabbi.
Oh,
Good evening.
Jeff, my dear friend Jeff. So, Rabotai, I would like to take first the opportunity and to wish our friend Jeff a hearty refuah shlema. Our friend Jeff, I don't know how many of you noticed, but I definitely noticed, wasn't with us on Thursday. And I decided to phone, then I decided, no, I'm not going to bug him. Maybe he's busy. I didn't phone. I said, I will see him in Minha. I'm sure that I'll catch him in Minha one of these days. And yes, I'll catch them today at Minha. And Baruch Hashem. And he said, Ben Chagomel, Baruch Hashem. So we're wishing you, Jeff, number one, 100% recovery. Please God, a full recovery and refuah shlema, and please God that you'll never miss our shiurim anymore because you've been missed. Okay, Jeff, I mute everyone because there was some noise, so if you want to unmute, you're more than welcome to unmute.
So saying amen to you. Thank you for the wishes. Thank you.
Please God, refuah shlema. Until 120. Bari v'shalem, healthy. Amen. Okay, so now we're going to start the show, but Rabotai, today it wasn't a good day in Eretz Israel. I was sitting with my family and around the table today, and when we got the bad news that a young man of 26, Eliyahu David ben Avraham, that's Eli K. I don't know how many of you know him. Is Avi K's son. Funny enough, there was with us in Sukkot, and Avi K was with us on Sukkot, him and his wife and his daughter. And my son-in-law grown up with his son, Eli. Eli today been gunned down by a terrorist, Yimach Shemam V'Zichram. I would like to dedicate today's show in the soul of Eli K, that obviously he doesn't need our shiurim because Chazal tell us that a person that been murdered in a sake that he's a Jew, he have a place in heaven straight. So we still have to dedicate this show in honor of Eli K, because I feel obligated, and I'm sure that my son-in-law will appreciate that he grown up with Eli in the same neighborhood. As a matter of fact, there was wall to wall, or maybe gate to gate. They grown up in the same street, distance of maybe a minute walk from one house to each other. They grown up in the same school. He spoke at my son and my daughter's, when I say my son-in-law and my daughter wedding. So it's, for me and my wife and all my family, it's very, very emotional. It's taking a long time to sink in, but as it's sinking in, I'm getting more and more upset. But I know one thing, that you have a great place in heaven, because all of those that die on Kiddush Hashem have a great place in heaven. They don't go through Gehenna straight to Gan Eden. They have a big soul. So may his soul rest in peace, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give strength to his family in those difficult times, and Kol Am Yisrael. And also I would like to dedicate to Sheol, to Esther Kaden Bat Ketzian, Mordechai ben Rahma, Harav Avraham Chaim ben Eliezer Yaakov, Tamar bat Zehava, Rachel bat Malka Sultana, Yaakov Salomon ben Farhad, Dvorah Ruth bat Bela, Chaim Eliyahu ben Yeshayahu. Please God, that the word of Torah that we're going to speak today to uplift their soul in heaven. I would like also to dedicate the shiur in refuah, in help to healing of those that sick in Eretz Israel, the Ptsoim, those that got injured today. Another 2 people got injured for stabbing today in Eretz Israel, and all the Jewish people all over the world, and amongst them Lior bat Miriam, Menashe Naji ben Farha, Orna Bluba bat Miriam, Harav Avraham ben Marina, Harav Shlomo Yehuda ben Dalia, Harav Moshe ben Devora, Eitan ben Adasa, Israel ben Zisa, Mordechai David ben Leah, Devora bat Esther, Sarah, Devora bat Elka, Tzadok ben Sarah, Shulamit bat Chaya Shein Alea, Vesar Rivka bat Yehudit, Ve'Aryeh ben Gito. Please God, refuah shlema to all of them. So we're going to continue with Chanukah. But today I'm going to speak actually about most of the show. I'm going to dedicate for the history of Chanukah. What's happened in Chanukah? Many of us think that the story of Chanukah was quick war, a victory, and lighting the menorah. As a matter of fact, it wasn't so quick war, it took a long time. And I would like to go a bit through the history of Chanukah. And then I would like also to go through the message of Chanukah, and then to speak about what can we learn from lighting the candles in a menorah now in Chanukah, and lighting the menorah in Bet HaMikdash that the Maccabi done. And then I will go through a few other different subjects. Why do we say Hallel? Why a full Hallel? Why in Chanukah? Okay, we read Parashat HaNesi'im, that's mean the chapter that speak about the prince of every tribe. Also, what is Chanukah, the festival of Chanukah, the happiness of Chanukah, and to go to do some ideas about the word Nerot. What does it mean, Nerot? Be'ezrat Hashem, na'aseh v'natzliach, v'Hashem aleinu berachamav v'yarmiyah. So, the Greek Empire, a matter of fact, been controlled Eretz Israel for 180 years, and most of the world, during the time that the Greek was a great empire, they controlled over Eretz Israel for 180 years, and most of the world. In the year 3621 from the creation, during the time of the Second Temple, it's very important to remember that. The coup of the Hashmonaim or the Maccabees, whichever one you want to call it, against the Greek Empire started. The beginning of the coup started at the night before the wedding, of the daughter of Matityahu Kohen Gadol. Matityahu was Kohen Gadol at that time. And his daughter met Hatan. He was from the house of the Hashmonaim. At that time, a very important family used to marry each other. So Matityahu Kohen Gadol, his daughter have a shidduch with the house of the Hashmonaim. And what happened on that night? The night before that, the wedding, the family get together, both of the family. And while the father and the brother of the groom was there, and then was the father and the brother, obviously, of the Hatan and Kala, was all there talking. In the middle of all of that situation, the daughter of Matityahu Kohen Gadol starting to knock on a table, and she started tearing her clothes. Obviously, Matityahu, that was a Kohen Gadol, and the brother was so embarrassed. What is the daughter doing? What our sister doing? They was shocked. And immediately they asked her, what are you doing? Why are you behaving like this? And she explained to them that tomorrow she had to spend, before she getting married, she had to spend the time with the hegemon. Hegemon is the mayor of the city. And none of you doing nothing. How long are you planning to keep quiet and to allow those Greek people to humiliate the Jewish woman before they're getting married? How long that Greek mayor that called the hegemon of the city of Modi'in, because that's where they live, are they gonna embarrass us? And the word of the daughter penetrate to the heart of the father, and he decided to put an end to that repulsive behavior. He couldn't. He decided that's it. What has he done? He took his sword and he wrote on it Maccabi. Maccabi, mi kamocha ba'elim Hashem. Okay? And him and his 5 sons, and they said that the Hashmonahim have 12 sons. Together there was 17 men. Just remember, Matityahu was an old man, old man. He took his sword and he said, Mila Hashem Elai. Who want to be with the Almighty will join me. And that's how the coup started. 17 people against the biggest empire of the world. What's happened? At the beginning, Matityahu decided to destroy all the altars that they was worshipping idols in his place in Modi'in. And that's how it started. Not only that, the next thing, they start step by step to destroy. What happened after that? From Modi'in, they moved to another place that's called Samaria, Shomron. In Shomron was a big officer that's called Apollonius. Apollonius was in charge about the entire area of Samaria with his army. And when he heard what's happened in Modi'in, that there is a coup starting, immediately he decided that he's going to put an end to it. He come with his soldier. And at that time already, Matityahu was an old man. He couldn't fight anymore. And as a matter of fact, he passed away. And the people decide that they're going to appoint Yehuda, the older son, Yehuda, what's called Yehuda Maccabi, to become in charge about them. And Yehuda Maccabi was the chief of staff of the Maccabite, the Hashmonaim. And when he heard that Apollonius planning to come, they actually planned an ambush for him, and they kill him and his soldiers. Listen to that. The rumors start making wings. People heard about it. More Jewish people starting now to join Yehuda Maccabi and the rest of the Hashmonaim. But the same thing happened, that the rumor moved on, that's what's happening, and the rumor make wings, and who hear about it? Siron. He was one of the second in command around the land of Eretz Israel, and he was in Aram. Okay, when he hear that they kill his fellow friends Apollonius, he decided that he's going to come with his army to put an end to that coup. Yehuda Maccabi gathered all his soldiers and they fast the day before, complete day of fasting, and davening to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that they're going to allow them to win the war. What happened? Siron that came down to Eretz Israel, he came down. Where is he came down? He came down from Aram, he came down. What happened? Yehuda Maccabi and his men surprised him, took him by surprise, and killed him and his entire soldiers that was with him. Obviously, now Yehuda Maccabi and the Hashmonaim have more weapon, more bow and arrow, more equipment, more horses, all different kind of weapon that they took from the Greek army. When the rumor make a wing, that came down to the Caesar. Which one? Antiochus. I don't know how you say in English, if there is a different name, but Antiochus, that was, okay, in Antiocha. Antiocha was the capital, okay, the capital in that time in Rome, okay. What happened then? Sorry, not in Rome, in Greece, okay. What happened then? When he heard that, he decided that he's gonna send three different commander-in-chief, and they was like this: Gorgiash, Nicanor, and Talmai. Three different chief of staff, okay, very major commanders that experience with war. With them, he's gonna send 40,000 walking soldiers and 7,000 horsemen. That means the people that can ride horses, can ride elephant, to try to stop the coup. When Gorgiash, Talmai, and Nicanor arrived to the land of Eretz Israel, they decide that Talmai and Nicanor are gonna stay and gonna wait for Gorgiash to surprise Yehuda Maccabi, okay, and Mitzpeh Haron, okay? And he took with him 2,000 soldiers, walking soldiers, and another 1,000 horse riders to attack Yehuda and his men, the Maccabite. What happened? Yehuda Maccabi, again, the day before, obviously have intelligence, realized that Gorgiash coming to Mitzpeh Ramon. What is he done? He left Mitzpeh Ramon, okay, and they gone to where Talmai Nicanor was. Talmai Nicanor didn't expect Yehuda Maccabi to attack them. So they was resting. As a matter of fact, they never even thought, where is it going to happen? And Yehuda Maccabi, obviously, again, the night before, asked him and all of his followers, the Hashmonaim, to fast, to daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that they will succeed with their mission. Yehuda Maccabi surprised Nicanor and Talmai and penetrate into the camp, obviously killed the soldiers, killed the two officers, those chief, and waited now for Gorgiash to come back. Gorgiash arrived in Mitzpeh Haron and he saw that it's empty. He realized that Yehuda Maccabi and the Hashmonaim not here. He decided, you know what, I'll go back to my camp, we'll make another plan. When he was walking to his camp, surprisingly, the Yehuda Maccabi and the Hashmonaim attacked Gorgiash and his troops and killed them, and then burned completely all the camp. If that wasn't enough, now Antiochus was completely berserk, angry, wanted complete revenge against what's happening in the land of Eretz Israel. He decided now, Antiochus decided now, he's going to send the Minister of Defense. That means the viceroys, Lysias, that was his name. Let me just confirm, yeah, Lysias. Lysias was his Minister of Defense and the viceroy to him. And he decided that now he's very experienced with war. He's going to send him to where? To the small land of Eretz Israel, and they're going to put an end to that. Lysias obviously took with him 60,000 soldier, walking soldier, while he took with him 5,000, listen to that, 5,000 horse riders and elephant riders. And he gonna come and put the end to the coup in Eretz Israel. But he decided that he gonna surprise Yehuda Maccabi. He not gonna come the same like the other three commanders that came, because when they came through the coastline. he was thinking that now I'm going to surprise Yehuda Maccabi and the Hashmonaim. I'm going to come from a different way. I'm going to come through the Judean desert. So the intelligent, obviously, again, Yehuda Maccabi have people to watch because he expected that the Greek Empire not going to sit in peace, and they're going to try to take and to put the end to that coup. And he realized that Lysias coming through the Judean desert. Here, Yehuda Maccabi gather everyone again. They fasted the day before, daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that they give Lysias and his army in their hand. What happened? When they saw that they're coming through the Judean desert, they waited on top of the mountain. And as there was in a valley, Yehuda Maccabi and the Hashmonaim attacked the entire army, the Greek army, and killed all of them. And Lysias managed to escape by the skin of his teeth and arrived to manage to get to Antioch, humiliated, and that was the end of the Greek Empire in Eretz Israel. That means that the beginning of the war was 17 people, miracle by miracle by miracle, until Yehuda Maccabi and the Hashmonaim get rid of Antiochus, the Greek Empire completely. They chased them away, okay, from Eretz Israel. Now came the second stage. Now that they released Jerusalem, the road to Jerusalem, it was easy to penetrate to Jerusalem because all that area was surrounded. Now that they killed them, they can enter Jerusalem. So they enter Jerusalem with no wall, they conquer Jerusalem again, get rid of all the soldiers, as we explained, and they walk into Beit HaMikdash. Beit HaMikdash, I think that I made a mistake, I don't know if I say it, I think in a previous show I said they destroyed. They didn't destroy Beit HaMikdash. They actually, all they done in Beit HaMikdash, they actually took Beit HaMikdash over and they start sacrificing non-kosher animal on an altar. What happened now? The Hashmonaim entering and the Kohanim. Just remember, Yehuda was a Kohen. He was the son of Matityahu Kohen Gadol. Now the Maccabites taking over again Beit HaMikdash. They're starting to clean up. They're starting to purify Beit HaMikdash. The first thing that they can do is to light the menorah. And you all know that all the oil that was there been contaminated, except a little jar that been found and been sealed by the Kohen Gadol that they found. And that jar was enough to light for one day. What are they going to do? They're going to light the menorah. They light the menorah, and we know the story that the menorah had miracle, and it's been lit, and that the oil was enough to lit for 8 days. And that's the story, again, very, very briefly, regarding what's happened in the time of the Maccabites. This thing took 3 years for the Maccabites to manage to chase the greatest empire of the world from the land of Eretz Israel. But we have to understand what is the message here. What is the message that we can learn? So the first message that we can learn from here, that the war between the Greek and the Jewish people, first of all, we have to understand it wasn't a physical war. The Greek never wanted to kill the Jewish people. Not at all. The Greek wanted to kill the soul of the Jewish people. So what did they do? They made few decrees. The first decree that they made, no Brit Milah. Okay? The second one, Shabbat, not to keep Shabbat. The third one, Chodesh, and the fourth one is family purity. By that the Jewish people were not going to keep those 4, it was a guarantee that the Jewish people, number one, going to forget their festivals. They're not going to do Kiddush HaChodesh. If they're not going to keep Shabbat, they're going to forget their roots. Milah, that's the Brit Milah, that's the sign between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And if they're not going to keep the purity of the family, it's another guarantee that the kids not going to grow up decent. So what's happened? At the beginning, Hazal explained that minority, very small member, actually accepted and took on himself the Greek philosophy. That the Greek philosophy was at that time that everything is regarding the body, the pleasure of this world. Everything, how you look, the external look, to enjoy life, everything is about moment. But the majority of the Jews never changed their religion, like they never done it all over the years. And that's when the Jewish people start fighting. What happened then? We have to understand that here come the major tackle that we have in our life. The Greek represent the evil inclination, Rabotai. The same like every time, in every one of us, there is a little Antiochus, little Yetzer Hara, that born with us and will die with us. This evil inclination all the time try to entice us and try to entice us to do averot. And our job is to fight it, to tackle it, to make sure that we're not going to give up. And Rabota, we have to understand something very important. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will never bring a test to a human being if he cannot pass it. The Ramchal is the famous Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, the Ramchal. The Ramchal wrote Mesilat Yesharim. Many of you know the book Mesilat Yesharim. The Ramchal born in Italy, in the north of Italy, in a city that's called Padova. He born around 314 years ago. And he said like this. He said that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will never give a test to a person if he can never succeed to defeat it. That means every test that we have with Yetzer Hara, every human being can succeed it. And that's what we say, Akol bidei shamayim chutz mirat shamayim. If you want to succeed to destroy Yetzer Hara, it's up to you. That means every time the Yetzer Hara comes, we have to make sure that we have to defeat it. But the job is the same like the Maccabim. How's the Maccabim managed to win the greatest empire of the world? If you look at it, it was miracle after miracle after miracle and another miracle. It took 3 years. It's come to teach us very important lesson in life. That Yetzer Hara is with us. Unfortunately, there's nothing you can do. From the day that the human being born until the day that he died, the Yetzer Hara is with us. Our job is that even if sometime we collapse, even if sometime we sin, we mustn't give up. Because if HaKadosh Baruch Hu give us a test, we have to understand that it's in our hand to overcome this Yetzer Hara. Yetzer Hara is like fire, Hazal tell us. But Hazal tell us, Barati Yetzer Hara, HaKadosh Baruch Hu say, I created the evil inclination. Barati lo Torat Valim. What it means? The same like HaKadosh Baruch Hu say, I created the evil inclination. The same like I created the evil inclination, I created a medicine for it. What is the medicine? Torah. So that means that sometimes a person see that he doesn't succeed. Everyone knows he's personal and where his weak point. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell us, when you see that the evil inclination try to get over you, that means that he's trying to come. If you can't fight it, Torah. The Torah is the major key to fight the evil inclination, to learn Torah. Not only that, Hazal tell us something very important. And I read it, when I read it last night, I want to share it with you. Hazal tell us in a Gemara in Masechet Ketubot in page 33, folio 2. I remember 33 because it's Lag. Like Lag Ba'omer, I'll try to make there in a Tosfot. Listen what Hazal say. Hazal tell us the story of Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. You all know the story of Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah during the time of Nebuchadnezzar. That they told them that they must bow down to the idols. And Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah didn't bow down. What did they decide? That they're going to take them and they throw them to the furnace. And Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah survived the furnace. Nothing happened to them. The fire didn't burn them. Hazal revealed to us in a Tosfot, Rabotai, listen to that, a great secret. What was the secret? Remember it again. Gemara Masechet Ketubot 33, folio 2. Listen to that secret. Hazal there say, if the Babylonian, because Nebuchadnezzar was a Babylonian, if he would torture Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, or was beating them, in the end, they will bow down to the statue. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu knew that Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah not going to be frightened to jump into the fire. So what did he test them? He tested them with a fire. A test that they can stand. He didn't give them the test of torturing and beating. Because that they wasn't ready, for whatever reason. Hazal come and tell us from here, you learn something very important. And that's what the Ramchal say, that in the beginning of the Masechet, in the beginning of Mesilat Yesharim, the book of Mesilat Yesharim, Hazal tell us that the test that you get in life, it's a test that you can pass. Otherwise, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wouldn't give it to you. And if HaKadosh Baruch Hu knew that you're not going to pass it, he's not going to give you this test. It's up to each one of us individually to be strong enough to understand, take it in our mind. If that test comes to me, it's from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the first thing that you have to say. Number two, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu given me that test, that's me, that I can pass it. I just have to be strong, physically and mentally, to overcome it. And that's the message, Rabotai, of the war of the Hashmonaim and the Maccabim. If you look carefully, the greatest empire of the world, 17 people. Let's take example, like I always say, 17 people. Can they go and fight Russia, United States of America? Who can fight them? Especially a Kohanim, never been trained, doesn't have any weapon. The Kohanim, their job is to do peace. We explained previous Sunday why Dafka the Kohanim have to start the war. Because the job of the Greek, they wanted to put the light and the peace and the harmony off. And the job of the Kohanim is to bring us close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the job of the Kohanim. And the Greek wanted to do exactly the opposite, so they have to fight. That's what we explained last week. But the message here from that war, we have to understand, HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell us something very important. That if I give you a test, I know that you can pass it. You just have to have the emunah, the faith that you can overcome it. And how you do it? Step by step, miracle after miracle after miracle. But look at Eretz Israel. 6-day war, no one believed that we're going to win. As a matter of fact, they didn't publicize it, but it's well known that they prepare mass grave all over Israel, in all different countries in Israel. Kadosh Baruch Hu show us the miracle. Then come Yom Kippurim, another miracle. Before all of that, Milchemet HaAtasha, a great miracle. 1948, completely miracle. I can tell you for my grandfather and my family. My grandfather been murdered by the Jordanian in 1948. The Israeli, I've mentioned it a number of times. The Israeli government published a book about him. My uncles, Zichronam Livracha, most of them passed away. They almost belonged to the Mahtarot, the underground. They all fought against the British, against all the rubbish that was in Eretz Israel. But again, miracle after miracle. That's part of the birth of the Mashiach, the pain birth of Mashiach. But we have to understand one important thing, that when we do our ishtadlut, when Matityahu, it was an old man, took his sons, okay, his 5 sons, together there were 6, and then the Hashmonaim with their son joined to that. They done their own ishtadlut. Ishtadlut is the personal effort. Then HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed him the first miracle. HaKadosh Baruch Hu not going to do a miracle to each one of us if we're not going to do ishtadlut. And we explained that in Parshat HaShavua, that Yaakov Avinu, when he gone to meet with Esav, he done ishtadlut. He done everything that he can to make sure that not going to be a war. Everything that in his power to make sure that he will have peace with his brother Esav. Although that HaKadosh Baruch Hu already promised him, Bechol asher telech, eshmerecha bechol asher telech, not only that I'll guard you wherever you will go, I will bring you back to the land. Yaakov Avinu also didn't trust the miracle. So the message of Chanukah and the message of the Parshiot HaShavua that we're going to read, okay, it's come to teach us that the first thing that we have to do is our personal effort. Obviously not to go ballistic, but to do ishtadlut and then leave it to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's the message here. More than that you can't do, but you have to do what you can do. And you have to remember that if there is a test come your way, you have to understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes sure that you can pass that test. It's up to you. Akol bidei shamayim, everything in the hand of heaven, except Yirat Shamayim. What does it mean, Yirat Shamayim? The fear of heaven. When it's come to do your personal effort in Yiddishkeit. So far, we understand what we can learn from the war. But what can we learn from the lighting of the menorah? We know that the light, the menorah, where? In Bet HaMikdash. They inaugurate the Bet HaMikdash on the 25th of Kislev. And the 25th of Kislev, Rabbi, listen to that. They inaugurated the Mishkan. Listen to that, the similar time. But what can we learn? So we have to understand that from lighting the menorah and Bet HaMikdash, the person has to learn something that he has to do his personal effort. The rest he has to leave to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That means the jar was enough for one day, the jar of oil, the olive oil, the pure olive oil, was enough to light the menorah for full day, one full day. What can they do? They took it. They done the ishtadlut. they fill up the bazichim, they fill up the cups, and they light the menorah. The miracle happened that it's lost for 8 days until they go on to the north, to the portion of Asher. They make a new pure oil of olive, katit. Katit is the first drop from the pressing of the oil, and with that, you can light the menorah. Until they have enough to produce more, they brought back to Yerushalayim. It took 8 days because it's take from Yerushalayim to the north. It takes you 3 days, 3 days back and 2 days to produce. It took exactly 8 days. That's mean that it's come to teach us the menorah lit in Bet HaMikdash. But first of all, you must do your effort. The rest, leave it to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You've done your own personal effort. You've done everything that you can. The rest, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I've done whatever I can. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, more than that I can do. Now I leave it in your hand. Once that you leave it in his hand, you're not going to regret. But when you try to become uber chochem and you try to become too clever, and you say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, no, I'll manage by myself. HaKadosh Baruch Hu say, okay, manage by yourself. Let's see how you're going to manage. So we have to remember that the lighting, the menorah, during the time of the Hashmonaim, during the second temple, when the Hashmonaim came in, and the Kohanim lit in it, it's to show us that we have to do our personal effort, but not to go ballistic. That's all. Now, remember one question that came to me now while I'm talking to you. How the Kohanim light the menorah? Because there was all Tme'im. There was all Tameh, because they come to contact with the deceased. Remember that question. It's come to me right now, but if I don't remember that, I want to answer that, because while I'm talking, this is sitting on my mind and I'm trying to find answer. The second thing, we have to understand that the lighting the menorah, the message of lighting the menorah in our days, what is it come to tell us? If you look how we're lighting the menorah, on the first day we light one candle. I'm not talking about the shamas. The shamas doesn't concern. The second day we light 2 candles. The third day 3, and on and on. Why is it come to teach us? It's come to teach us something very important that we have to understand. The same that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted first the Hashmonaim and the Kohanim to join force together and to start the coup, the first miracle. After they succeeded, he wants us to do another effort. And when we've done another effort, he shows us another miracle. And then another miracle. And then another miracle. It's come to teach us in life, Rabota, is very, very important. That we have to understand that step by steps. We cannot, in one day, we cannot succeed to win everything. The winning quick, that's mean a quick failure. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to do our first steps, and he'll do the rest. We'll do the second step, he'll do the rest. And that's what the lighting of the menorah tells us. That sometimes you've done a step, and suddenly the Yetzer Hara come, and we couldn't face him. Not to give up. Get up, stand up, and start again. And that's the job of a Jew. Sheva Yipol Tzadik V'kam. A job of a tzaddik, that even if he fell, and en tzaddik ba'aretz asher ya'aseh tov v'lo yachta. Forget it. There is no righteous person in this earth that will do good and will never sin. Forget about it. It's pashut. But the job and the chokhmah, that the tzaddik stand up, he say, yes, I collapse, I made a sin, I regret, I do tshuva, and I'm moving on. And that's the chokhmah. And that's why the lighting of the menorah in our house, in our time, come to teach us. The first day, 1 candle. The second day, 2 candles. The third day, 3 candles. Step by steps. That's how you can win. Otherwise, you're going to fall down. It's the same like a person that eats all the cake, excuse my language. You'll have to vomit. You can't eat the cake and not vomit. You can't eat all the cake and to keep it full. Step by steps. You finish one stage, you thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for all the miracle that he done for you. Now, I'm facing another challenge. Thanks HaKadosh Baruch Hu for the second challenge, for the third challenge, and etc. And that's, I think, the message of lighting the Chanukah in our time. Now, I would like to speak about, no, I have to answer you. Before I forget, I need to answer you. So, I'm thinking now, wait, how the Kohanim can light the menorah? I remember I read that the Kohanim was Tme'im. Why? Because Me'emet, the seas, they come to contact with the seas. And the Kohen Gadol, and that time Yehuda, that took the place of his father, Yesh ba'aya, it takes 7 days. So how are they going to light the menorah? So I saw a few things. I remember that I saw an answer that to light the menorah, a Kohen have to be pure. And only the Kohen can light the menorah, no one else. So what does he do? He took a stick of wood. Why dafka wood? Because wood doesn't get retziv tuma. He took the stick, a long stick of wood, and with that they light the menorah. Do you understand what I'm saying? So to light the menorah, they can done it only with a long stick of wood. Why? Why dafka with a stick of wood? Because the wood doesn't receive tuma, and that's how they can light the menorah. Because otherwise, if a Kohen come and light the menorah, he's a tameh. So immediately you will make the oil impure when you touch it. You can pour it, but as long that you don't touch it. And that's the difference. I remember that. Okay, now I would like to speak about Hallel. As you know, in Chanukah we say Hallel. In Purim we don't say Hallel. Why? How come? So the difference between them that in Purim we have, number one, we read Megillah. In Chanukah we don't read the Megillah. Therefore we say thank you to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Also, the difference is that Hallel you say on a miracle that happened. Purim also, miracle happened, yes. The difference is that you say Hallel only if the miracle happened in Eretz Israel. The story of Chanukah happened in Eretz Israel. The story of Purim happened in Persia. Therefore, you don't say Hallel. And therefore, you say Hallel in Chanukah because the miracle that happened to us was in Eretz Israel. The third idea is that we know that after that situation with the Greek Empire disappeared. After the Maccabees and the Hashmonaim managed to destroy it completely, the Greek Empire, they disappeared, completely disappeared. When with Ahasuerus, we continue, his kingdom continue. Yes, the Jewish people killed the enemies, but the empire of the Ahasuerus continued to stay, and no problem. That's for Hallel. But why dafka full Hallel? In Rosh Chodesh, we say a half Hallel, a short Hallel. In Chanukah, we say a full Hallel, Rabotai. Why dafka a full Hallel? So there is two different reasons for it, because that when we're lighting the menorah, we have to understand that every day, every candle is a miracle by himself. If it's every miracle by himself, We have to say a full Hallel for every miracle. Number two, the same like during the time that in the 23rd of Kislev, they inaugurate the Mishkan. On the 25th of Kislev, they inaugurate the Bet HaMikdash, and they cleaned it up and they light the menorah during the time of the Second Temple. And that's, Rabotai, we have to understand why are we saying a full Hallel. Also, we have to understand that the Maran Shulchan Aruch, Rabbi Yosef Karo, born in a city of Toledo in Spain, 533 years ago. In the Shulchan Aruch, in Siman, chapter 670, he said that the day of Chanukah, Asurim betahanun vebested ubichya. That means the day of Chanukah, we're not allowed to say tahanun, we're not allowed to eulogize, we're not allowed to cry. And we have to understand what is it. So Hazal explained, listen to that, the mystical rabbi explained why not. Because the Shulchan Aruch, when he spoke about the Pshat. Although that he was a great Kabbalistic, Rabbi Yosef Karo, that wrote the Shulchan Aruch, he spoke on the Pshat. He didn't speak to us in depth. The mystical rabbi explained that in Hanukkah, whenever we are happy, because every day of those days, those 8 days, we must be happy, okay? We actually giving extra strength for all the good forces in the world. But has v'shalom, when a person get upset or crying or eulogize, he actually bringing forces to the evil forces, extra force to the evil forces. And our job in Hanukkah is to weaken the evil forces. And that's why in Hanukkah, because the day of Hanukkah, I'll speak about it, please God, in the next show, we get special light from heaven. A light of special energy. We'll speak about it. I would like to conclude with the word nerot. If you take the word nerot in simple translation means candles. Hazal tell us that if you take the word nerot and you change the letters around, you will get, Hazal in the Midrash explained to us, that you get the word vatran. How you write nerot? Nun resh vav taf. Vatran you write vav taf resh nun. Okay, it's the same letters, just different sequence. Okay, vatran means lenient. Hazal in the Midrash tell us a secret, that during the time of Hanukkah, each one of us should be lenient as much as he can. Why? Because when a person shows leniency, even if he sins, HaKadosh Baruch will say, okay, he sinned. But look, he's lenient. He doesn't make big story about it. Bedil v'yavo, let it go. Okay, he said, I'm not going to be so strict about it. He'll do tshuva. Let it go. The same like hu ma'avir, gamani ma'avir. That's HaKadosh Baruch. So it's come to teach us that the day of Hanukkah is so important. And we can reach to such a peak. We don't understand what the light of the menorah, those candle, the light of the candle, can do on Hanukkah to every night. How much they get rid of all the evil forces that there is in the world, number one. The light that they bring to our neshama, it's beyond understanding. Hazal tell us that it's good to look at the light of the candle of the menorah. It's good for the soul beyond understanding. It's good for the physical soul and the spiritual soul. Be'ezrat Hashem, that we should all merit that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will open our eyes and let us see the spiritual soul and the miracle, and send us Mashiach Tzidkenu speedily in our days, and we'll say enough to all the shores that we're having from our cousin, and we'll build Bet HaMikdash, and then we'll see the proper light. את האור הגנוז that הקדוש ברוך הוא created in the first day of creation. Amen, כן יהי רצון. Now, if you have any question, בכבוד, I would like to listen if there is any question. בכבוד.
Hello, it's Anthony. How are you?
Anthony, shalom aleichem, Baruch Hashem. Sorry, my throat is dry. I just need to drink something. You can ask, בכבוד.
On Rosh Chodesh, normal Rosh Chodesh, we say half Hallel, but Rosh Chodesh Chanukah, we say full Hallel. Why do we say full Hallel on that Rosh Chodesh? It's still Rosh Chodesh, so we shouldn't be saying half Hallel. It's still Rosh Chodesh.
But we explain that why we're saying full Hallel during the 8 days, because the Rosh Chodesh that fall on Hanukkah is part of Hanukkah. And we explain that on Hanukkah we say full Hallel, and we brought a few reasons why dafka full Hallel. You remember? You remember?
So why? Yes. So why do we say half Hallel on a normal Rosh Chodesh?
Because normal Rosh Chodesh we don't have those 8 days of Hanukkah. But the Rosh Chodesh that fall, Rosh Chodesh Tevet that fall in after Kislev, come Rosh Chodesh Tevet. You remember? Kislev,
yeah.
Tevet. It's part of Hanukkah. So if it's part of Hanukkah, you have to say full Hallel. Nachon? The same like
okay.
you say during the day. You follow, Anthony?
Yes. Thanks very much.
Bechavot. Yeah. Pleasure. Pleasure. Jeffrey, bechavot.
Yes, I have a question. Rabbi, when we were at school in England, I went to a school called the Hasmonean School, and it was obviously a terrific Jewish school, and we learned ancient Greek, we learned Latin, we learned ancient French for Rashi, we learned all that in school. It was amazing because of our history. We know that the Greek philosophy, which you just taught us, it was an epitome of the evil inclination. They were trying to bring it more into the world and infuse into us. But they had something which was quite incredible, which Hashem gave them. They gave them incredible chokhmah. They gave them chokhmah. They had the most incredible philosophers of that period when it came to natural and physical things. They had people like Socrates. They had people like Homer. They had many in fact. They had many of these deep Plato. I mean, we always talk. We use the word contemplate when we think about things. We talk about using your think about it, analyze it. So I think maybe perhaps it was their deep wisdom that attracted the Jewish people. They didn't want to kill us. They wanted to convert us into the physical way of life. And we being spiritual beings, the Chokhmah of Torah didn't sit with them. It didn't fit their idea of the world. And this is what they tried to do to us, to destroy all these things through the bris and through not the Shabbos and not having purity, and to destroy that, because we have a spiritual chokhmah. We have a chokhmah straight from Hashem. So when it came to the Greeks, it wasn't just to physically, as you said, not to destroy. They weren't out to kill us. They were out to convert us. They were out to convert it into a physical way of being. And you actually brought it to the fore, and in terms of how we had to fight for it, and how we had to make the Estadlut, and how it was in phases from 17 to more. It was stages. It was we had to put the Estadlut in, and Hashem helped us, and that was something very, very special. And this is why we have dominated in this world. We've dominated all cultures because of our spiritual culture, and that they can't beat. Physicality cannot win. So yes, you spelled it out so true. We have to go into the learning hall. We go into the study halls, because that can beat at any time, and it can override everything. And I want to thank you for that. Thanks for this
Pleasure.
message.
I just want to add up one thing, Jeffrey. You have to understand that the Hazal call it Chokhmat Yavan, Chachmei Yavan. The Greek philosopher was great people. The only difference is that what they taught and what they done was two different things. For example, we all know about Aristotle.
Aristotle.
Yeah, he was a great philosopher. No one can dispute that. The great Alexander Mokdon, was one of his students.
Yeah.
He died in the age of 30. Okay, people poison him. Some people say in the age of 32. It's not the point. He conquered the entire world. He was one of his students. The problem with them, what they lecture and what they do, it was two different things. Why?
That's just what you preach.
Aristotle used to say that people have to behave in certain mannerism. Part of the philosophy is to have certain mannerism. The Jewish people say that you all the time have to have mannerism. The difference is that Aristotle, when he was in a university, he used to be a great professor. When he came home to eat, he was an animal. The students saw him one day eating. They walk on him. They wanted to see how does he eat, how does he behave while he's having his meal. And they saw him taking a rabbit, tearing it and eating it.
Oh, behemoth.
So the students said to him, well, Aristotle, whoa, what's happening here? When you're in a university, you teach us something else. He said, whoa. Let's put things in perspective. When I'm at university, I'm Aristotle. When I'm eating, he's an animal. You understand the difference? That's the difference. Our Torah tells us there is Masechet Derech Eretz. I don't know if you people know. I'm sure that you all know. You all clever people. There is called a Masechet Derech Eretz. Masechet Derech Eretz teach you not only Derech Eretz, how a person should behave even in the toilet. How to sit in a toilet. That's the Chokhmah. A person, when he become a judge, when he's studying law, he's clever in law. He doesn't know nothing else above law. When a rabbi become a rabbi, part of his studying, it's not just to become a rabbi, just to know law. You have to know more knowledge. And it doesn't stop there. That's why you have different level of rabbi. There's rabbi that can paskin in certain halachot, and there's rabbi that not allowed to paskin certain halachot. There's rabbi that allowed that to touch deeper thing. There's rabbi not allowed. There's all different level. And you see that there's certain rabbis that can actually today, there's not a lot, okay, that can actually touch even purity of the family. That it's one of the most difficult, that you learn how to look at the color of the blood. These certain rabbis say, look, I can't do that. Number one, I'm not geared for it. They're too gentle to touch those clothes. Number two, they're colorblind, they can't see. It happened. But the Torah teaches everything. To take blood and to tell you, this is a blood that the woman is unpure. Look at that color of the blood. That doesn't make her unpure. So you see that the wisdom of the Torah, not limited, it expands. And as much that you dive more in the Torah, it's beyond understanding. As much that you dive more and more, you realize I know nothing. And that's the chokhmah between our Chokhmah, our wisdom, to the Greek. That everything for them was physical, on the outside. To speak, it looked nice. To talk, how to talk. Yes, you go to a Jewish school, you see all the Jews. No one sits still, everyone jump. Why? Because they're not robot. The Torah doesn't teach us to be a robot. The Torah teaches us to be a human being. A human being nature is not to stand like this, like a robot, to salute. No, our job is to be human being with the evil inclination and to conquer it. Not to be like a robot and to bow down to the evil inclination. It's to be a human being and to fight the evil inclination. That's the job of the Jewish person. That's the difference between us to all the other religion in the world. You understand me? I think that I put it in a way that you can understand.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other question? I see that Frank Solomon with us. Frank, shalom aleichem. I didn't even have, I would like to welcome you to the show. Thank you very much for joining us. And I see that you tried to ask a few questions. So please introduce yourself.
No, Rabbi, what I'm trying to say is this, that Jeffrey was good enough, a very good friend of Jeffrey, to introduce me to your share. But I'm in conflict because I have a share with Rabbi Arbach every night at the same time, at 8:20, and yours at 8. So is there any way, because last time I couldn't, I had to leave Rabbi Arbach's show out because I couldn't stop. I was listening to yours the very first time. Is there any way that it can be recorded, that I don't miss it?
I tell you what, first of all, put your picture. Let's see who you are. We don't know who you are, Frank. We would love to see you. Put your camera on. It's nice to see you. First of all, nice seeing you, Frank. I would like you, do you have my cell phone number?
No,
My cell phone number.
I don't think so. I've just got...
Okay, so can I ask you a favor? Will you ask Jeffrey, send me a message, and I'll send you a link to all my showroom recorded. You can go to Google and you'll have over close to 400 showing, and you can see them all, Frank. They're all online, they're all recorded, and we're uploading them into to YouTube. So you can see them all on YouTube whenever you want.
Thanks. And I'll start with you, and then at 20 past I have to stop. And when I finish with Rabbi, I'll come back. Okay.
That's fine. That's great. Just remember that we give also another show on Thursday. I would like you to join us also on Thursday.
Well, I'll do for 20 minutes.
Thursdays in Parashat HaShavua.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you very much.
So I'll wait for your message, and I will respond to it. Thank you for joining us, Frank. Chanukah.
Thank you very much, Rabbi. Thank you.
Pleasure. Bye. Stephen, I see you want to ask something. Bechavot, Stephen.
Tell me, I believe the lighting, some of the lights up, it can't up, and others you go down. The Shama and Hillel, so we would follow Hillel. The lights with the candles.
There is a mahloket between Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel. You're right. Bet Shammai say you must light the 8 candle full, and every night take one off. That means light the first night 8 candle, the second night 7. Okay, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and on and on, take one down, go down. Bet Hillel said no. The first night you light 1 candle, the second night 2 candles, and the third night 3 candles. That means olech ve'oleh. That's Bet Shammai. Bet Hillel. Bet Shammai omrim olech ve'pochet. That means you're going backwards. Halacha ke Bet Hillel. We see that the halacha been passed according to Bet Hillel. Why? Because every day was a miracle by himself. What was the miracle? The miracle was that the oil was enough for 1 day. Everyone agree with that. That no one dispute. But every day that the menorah lighted was a miracle by himself. So that means the first day I put 1 candle for the first day. For the second day, it was another miracle. So I need to put another one. You follow?
Okay.
And on and on.
No, next.
Beseder? Okay?
Okay.
Good.
Interesting.
Any other question, Rabotai, regarding the Shi'ur, regarding Hanukkah? Because I think that next coming Sunday, Be'ezrat Hashem, going to be the first night of Hanukkah, and I'm going to bring some, I would like to do some also halachot. I would like to share with you some halachot that's very important to Hanukkah that will speak Be'ezrat Hashem. Any question?
One more,
Sure.
Rabbi, if I could. You just mentioned that every day was a miracle onto a miracle onto a miracle. And it was in itself a miracle. So my question is to you is, if there was enough oil to light one day, or what was the miracle of the light for one day?
Very good. The miracle of the one day, that's what we light in 1 candle.
Yes.
That's the first candle.
So what would that represent? What
The
miracle was
miracle was that on the first day, we didn't have any oil, but suddenly we find oil. Where was the oil?
oil?
That was the first miracle. That it was enough for one day, no one disputed. But to find the oil to start with, let's ask that question. All the jars of oil, remember the Greek, contaminated. And suddenly you find a little jar. We explain you missed because you wasn't well, you, Baruch Hashem, now you're well, and you have a great operation. And for you, I will repeat it. We explained that Yaakov Avinu said in a parsha that במקלי עברתי את הירדן, with my stick across the Jordan. We explain in a parsha that Hazal tell us that that stick wasn't just a normal stick, it was a hollow stick, that inside that hollow stick, Yaakov Avinu used to put oil. And every time that he used to sit and study, he used to take a little bit of oil of that. And some of this oil was left for when? For Hanukkah. Not only that, when Yaakov Avinu crossed the Ma'avar Yabok to take a little jar, that jar that was oil inside was the oil that he gonna inaugurate the matzeva that he had between him and the angel, Nachon. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to him, you put yourself on risk, I will make sure that for the future your son will have a miracle with the oil, the same like you giving your soul for the oil. You follow?
Rabbi, Levy, I forgot to ask you a question. With the lighting, is that at sunset or it sets when one should light the candle?
The לכתחילה, צאת הכוכבים, half an hour אחרי צאת הכוכבים. You have to light in צאת הכוכבים for half an hour. From the moment that you see the star, צאת הכוכבים,
it's not a sunset, not a skin.
Why? עד שתכלה רגל מן השוק. What it means שתכלה רגל מן השוק? That when people don't walk anymore. So, the main mitzvah is בצאת הכוכבים. Sunset. When you see the star. Okay? But if for some reason, you couldn't make it בצאת הכוכבים, you can light it
till the morning.
all night. Okay? All night. With the ball. Okay. בסדר?
Thank you.
Hello, I just want to ask one quick thing. It's Anthony again. On Rosh Chodesh and Shabbos Chanukah, you take out 3 Torahs from the bema. You take out 3 Torahs. Is there any other time of the year you take out 3 Torahs?
Any time that you read the 3 Torahs, because on Shabbos Hanukkah, and on Rosh Chodesh, what do? You read Parshat HaShavua,
Yes.
you read Rosh Chodesh, and you read Parashat HaNesiim. That's
Yes.
the three. Nachon?
Yes.
That's why you take 3 Torah. בסדר?
Okay, thanks very much.
בסדר, בסדר. Pleasure. Any other question, רבותיי? No? Okay, in that case, I would like to wish you all a great night. Be'ezrat Hashem, we should meet on this coming Thursday on השיעור on Parashat HaShavua. Again, wish you all great week. Jeffrey, a great refuah shleima to you. And please God, until 120 healthy, and you can dance on a wedding of your grandchildren healthy. Okay, Jeffrey?
Okay, thank you.
Mijn voorslijmen.
Thank you.
All of you to wish you a great night. Have a great evening. All the best. Thank you for
Thank you,
joining
Ron.
us.
Thank you.
Ja,
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Have a great week as well.
Good night. Good night. Call to.
Also.